don't know how to explain the outfit. So one thing about anime is that you're always going to get live action dramas, and I feel like it is a universal thing that most people who like anime almost always hate live action versions of anime. Unless it's shoujo, the chances of it coming out as something that isn't a bit bad, whether it be CGI, acting, the fact that the stories are so weird that in real life they're just bizarre. Most people hate them. I'm here to just say that I am an avid lover of live action, and one in particular that I love is Death Note. Now, I feel like majority of the Death Note adaptations are some things that would cause the reaction of, oh, it's alright, yeah, it's okay, I guess. Like, not a strong reaction, unless you've got the Netflix version, which is a whole barrel of fish on its own. But no, I'm talking about the Death Note 2015 live action drama series that ran for, I think, 11 episodes, and honestly, pure gold. Better than the plot of the manga slash anime. So I feel like a lot of people have just been very offended by that, because how could I dare to prefer the plot of the series? But then, when you think about it, Death Note is one of those animes which really lends itself to adaptations, because if you really think about it, the basic plot is, there is a notebook, you write names of it in. I should have said there were spoilers. Spoilers! You've got a notebook, if you write people's names in it, they die. If you know their name and their face. But, I mean, the rules are, they change a bit there, but we all know. If you don't, then watch it. It's murder. I mean, you're a murderer if you use it. That you are a killer. You just don't directly kill it, which therefore makes it a bit more difficult in order to point out a murderer, because it's a mystical ability. But essentially what you get is a cat and mouse chase. You've got a detective, you've got a murderer, the detective wants to catch the murderer wants to kill the detective, and it's a bit more difficult because how can you get evidence if it's all done through the magic world? That's the basic plot. You can do a lot with that. You can do so many detective stories. It is literally a detective story, just a bit more confusing stakes. I would like to say that I prefer the plot of the series. Now, I do have several points for this, but first we need to address the characters. They have changed the characters quite a bit. First things first, main guy, Light. He is an everyman. He's quite a nice guy, he's not bored, he's not a genius like in the anime, and it makes him a lot more sympathetic. I remember I was watching it, I was like, ah, he's just like us, isn't he? Well, wouldn't it be a shame if he were to go mad? That wouldn't happen though, would it? And it means that you sit there wondering, why would he kill? So the first couple of kills are done because of emotional, and they are him personal. His friend is being hurt, therefore he wants to hurt the person who's hurting his friend. Then his dad is his dad's a police officer, he's in a hostage situation, and the guy's about to shoot his dad, so he takes out the guy first. So in both of those situations, I would have done the same thing, probably. You automatically feel like, okay, yeah, I see where he's coming from. Damn. Okay, but why does he continue? Now, in this version, Ryuk, the Shinigami who owns the notebook, he actually says to Light, oh, if you don't want to use it, just give it back to me. I can give it to someone else. Now that's the thing, because he makes it clear that he could give it to anyone else, including the people who bully everyone, including the murderers, including those evil people in the world, which therefore means that if Light keeps the notebook, he's doing the world a favour, right? And then when people start saying that, oh, Kira is a savior, then that means that, yeah, he was right. He should keep doing it because people want him to keep doing it. Probably would have done the same thing if I was in his shoes, which therefore means that I can't hate him so much. I emphasize, I get it, maybe I'm Kira too? Now Light doesn't do the classic, the Asian squat thing that I can't do. I'm also not going to try. I'm in a skirt and I'm on a bed. It's not going to go well for me. Instead, they've made it so he's got major OCD, which I quite like. And considering his role as a detective and also the fact that he's trying to stay hidden, it kind of makes sense. Like, his character change isn't that big. Also, he does have a confusing arc where it's like, I feel like the friendship between Elle and Light in the anime feels a lot less genuine. However, in this version you do feel like they could genuinely be friends in a different situation, and that makes it a lot sadder. Put a pin in that, because we're going to come back to that later. Now, Misa. Okay. My queen, she doesn't dress like this. But the anime version of Misa, the look is just too iconic. Now, one thing about Misa, she's so much less annoying. And it's such a joy. I love Misa. I've always loved Misa, but she was quite annoying. She's more just funny, sweet, cute. Also, something I do think helps is that Light is a fan of Misa to begin with. He chooses to kill Misa's family's murderer, which means that he wanted to save, it wasn't just an accidental thing. So then when she found out, she was like, oh, I like this. They have a genuine connection. She sees him, recognizes that he's Kira at a concert of hers. It's quite a cute thing. Like, you can believe that there's some genuine affection there. And one good thing, Misa has a good ending. She doesn't die a dramatic death. She has a nice ending and she deserves it. She is a queen, she deserves love. Moving on to my personal favourite change is Nia/Mello. In the anime, a lot of people around the point that Elle dies stop watching because they go, oh, well, he's my favourite part. And I feel like that's possibly to do with Light doesn't have a freaking personality beyond, I'm a god, I'm brooding, and I'm bored. Like, that's his personality. It's not that interesting to watch unless there's dramatic music or unless he's competing against Elle. In this version, Elle does still die. However, we are introduced to Nia/Mello right a couple of episodes in, pretty early on. They are in the same place, they have a friendship, they are, I mean, Elle almost treats Nia/Mello like a little sibling, which then explains why Nia is so similar to Elle in some of the ways that they do things later on. Because of that, by the time that Elle goes, the time that his ghost is dead, by the time that happens, you kind of feel ready and you're kind of like, well, at least we have Nia, which I never felt in the original. Now, the other thing you would have noticed I've been saying Nia/Mello, because one thing was, in the original, Nia and Mello were foils of each other. Nia was childish, calm, just wanted to do everything very methodically, very much like Elle. Mello, on the other hand, is in the mafia, he's crazy, he shoots first, asks questions later, and he looks really good in leather. I wanted to see more of Mello. I think the only way the system they had there could have worked is if you made it so Nia lost and Mello won. Because then you have two opposing things of, okay, well, you've had Elle, So why don't you bring in this crazy mafia guy who's gonna take it a complete different direction? But that never happened, okay? That never happened. I get it. Could have done something there. However, because of this, because so many people, one, didn't really like them, and two, there were two new characters, neither of them we had a connection with. They were barely both on screen. You didn't care, did you? No one cared. So instead they made them the same character. They made Nia someone with split personality, and the sort of darker side of him was Mello, and he spoke through a puppet to represent Mello, and he looks exactly like Mello from the anime, which I quite like that. I feel like some people won't like that, but I thought it was quite good. It made you able to see the two reacting because they were the same person. They had conversations. You weren't just like, oh, there's one guy, there's another. Cool. They were the same person. We'd already seen them several points throughout the series already. It felt right and it felt okay. And then when they worked together at the end, it made more sense because they were the same person. So it wasn't like, oh, they had this entire communication we didn't see on screen, so why the hell was that not in there? And why the hell is that supposed to suddenly make us feel good? You didn't get that. One thing, why in live action animes do they get so many girls to play young boy characters? Good acting, I support it, but why? Do they just not have little kids? Or is it too dark? Maybe it's too dark. Things that I missed that were in the anime but not in the drama. The whole Ray Pemba and Naomi Misori story. They took the idea of that and then they went, okay, how could we make you think we're going to that and then completely change it so it's not that at all. That was it. And the thing is, that is one of probably, I think, the darkest moments in the anime. And I was quite sad they got rid of it, but what they replaced it with was still pretty interesting. It did subvert my expectations and I was like, oh, I've not seen this. This is quite interesting. Also, it's due to that case that you see Misa being helpful and you realise that Misa isn't as dumb as she's been in some versions. She is the reason that Light survives that fiasco, which is quite nice because then you're like, ah, she has some brains. She's not just cute, she's also brainy. Misa is queen. So with Naomi's departure, they do have a sort of parallel sort of thing that goes on later in the series. It's not as hard-hitting, but I think they may have changed it partly because I feel like it could have been one of those things which fans would just be like, it's not the same, it's not as good, and they were deliberately trying to avoid that. But also with the change of character for Light, I don't think at the point it happened he would have been evil enough to write this woman he's met like twice going off and committing suicide. One thing I also missed, and I know this is stupid, but it's just the handcuff situation. They do have it very briefly, but it is pretty much a moment there, moment gone, as opposed to the anime where it's like dragged out for a while. But then, considering that, it's probably due to the fact that you get Misa tied up in a very bondage-like situation, suicides, you have murder, you have them watching loads of people through loads of cameras all times of the day, including the bathroom. Maybe the handcuffs have gone too far. Maybe if they added the handcuffs it would have been more on the likes of a different website. Okay, changes that I really like. A pin we put in earlier, let's take it out. Light and Elle being friends. I loved the relationship between them in this. You had a bit less of a... I mean, you did have a bit less interaction because it has to be quick because the story's in much fewer episodes and it's still got to be realistic. and they also added a load of things. But right at the end, there's Nia is watching a video that Elle pre-recorded for him and prior to his death, and he says, "Light, sorry I doubted you." And that was in case Light wasn't Kida, because he still wanted them to be friends, and that was just beautiful and really sad. Another scene I really liked was the scene right as Misa was supposed to be seeing Elle's name for the first time. In this, they did it right before she was kidnapped and taken to be questioned, and it was at her concert. As we know, Light is a fan of Misa, so he gets them tickets to go. They're already dating at this point. Light's like, "Oh, Elle, let's go." They get ready to go in. Elle goes in first because Light's like, "Oh, I just need to do something." And he messages Misa saying, "Oh, just look at the name with the guy in all white next to me with black hair." He goes in and oh god, the place is full and there's about 20 people all in white with black hair, lookalikes of Elle, because Elle has already planned this and he's got people in case. The moment that Light finally gets to Elle, they start having a conversation and it's digs at one another, and then Ichigo Betty, Misa's group, come out on stage. No Misa. And Elle goes, "Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, your girlfriend, Misa, she's just been taken in for questioning." And it's just moments like that where you're just like, oh, yes, Elle, you go, you outwit that guy. Also, because Light is not a genius in this version, I feel like you feel a lot more tension from him in moments like that, because you can just see him going, "Oh god, oh god, oh god, what do I do, what do I do?" The final thing that I really liked the change of was just the Nia Mello situation. The way they beat Light was good, really good. The ending was good. It felt like Nia deserved to win. All of you are probably still disagreeing with me about the fact that I've just said that this is better than the original story, but I think if you analyse it, it just sort of, the characterizations and the characters they went for just make me feel like it's more of a full story, and also the ending doesn't feel rushed and terrible because they've killed off the main character and they don't know what to do now, which is what it felt like in the original. Have you watched Death Note 2015? Do you like my Misa cosplay? Please say yes. It took me 10 minutes to put together. I'm putting this on the internet, so it better be taken well. Yeah, so I'm sorry if I offended anyone. Have a good day.